My name is Bob Simon. I am the co-founder of the Simon Law Group. I run the justice team here. We do primarily all trial work, and we handle catastrophic injury, product failure, wrongful death, those types of things. And we like to be in the courtroom. I was inspired very early age, elementary school, to be a trial lawyer and fight for people. My uncle was hit and catastrophically injured in a car crash. I think I was 10 or 11. Lost the use of his legs. He was not wearing a seatbelt at the time. But through the tenacity of this lawyer, they provided for my uncle, his wife, the kids. They put money in trust for them. He was able to have a quality of life that he would never have without a lawyer. Had I not gone through that experience, I wouldn't have the background to know what my clients are going through. So when I visit clients now in the hospital with their family, I know what's going to be in store for them. When I first arrived in California, it was 2002, when I was looking at law schools. It was the first time I was actually on a plane. It was when I flew out I was 22, came out to look at law schools, came to Malibu to look at Pepperdine, and I was like, you know what, this is where I want to go. I did well my first year in law school. Knowing what I wanted to do, I took $50,000 a year at Lederer and Ojima as a lawyer, with percentages of cases that I worked up, that I brought into the firm, and it taught me how to be a businessman as well, to be able to hustle, to be able to do the best you can. And my thought is, if you have a stake in the game, you're going to have a better outcome. So from the very beginning, that's what I was doing. I was meeting clients. This is when I was in law school, I was getting clients. I was meeting with orthopedic doctors, chiropractors, other lawyers, to be able to start to develop that business base. John Nojima, who's one of my mentors, would tell me, he's like, look, everybody should know what you do. Like, everybody should know that you're a lawyer or you're in law school. He also taught me to build business relationships with doctors and physical therapists for a referral-based system, where we have clients that need services. They have referrals that come in as well. So I was getting referrals from physical therapists I still work with now, orthopedic doctors I still work with now, because I developed those relationships driving around in my 1995 Jeep Wrangler that I was praying wasn't going to break down every single time. I must have had 60 clients by my second or third year. And I had the percentage and the bonuses they had given me. I started at $50,000. By the time I was a third year, I had made that last year almost $250,000. And that's unheard of for 3 years out. Like, it just doesn't happen, but I was getting good results. I had to have that financial base to be able to start my own firm, because I didn't do anything else with it other than invest it into a new firm. That was it. Took all my own money, took no loans. In 2009, I hired my little brother, Brandon, who had just graduated from George Washington. We leased an office from Mike Hughes, great trial lawyer, a little office in his office suite. It was me, Brandon in the room with a huge copier, and we started that firm working on probably the 40 or so cases I brought over that I had at the time. I had won some sort of raffle where it's like, you get to have lunch with the prominent trial lawyer. And I met with Brown Green. I never met him before. He agreed to meet you for lunch. And I'll never forget what he told me. He said, if you want to be a successful trial lawyer, a successful trial firm, you need to have a great partner. You have to do it. And I was like, ding, 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 I have a twin brother, right? This is easy for me. So in 2010, we convinced my little brother, Brandon, to go to law school. Brad switched firms, formed the Simon Law Group. So it was me and Brad, and we took a huge leap of faith and took all the money that we had earned prior to this, leased out a building on Santa Monica Boulevard in Century City, which we could not fill, spent a decent amount of money renovating that building to be able to attract tenants to come in to sublease from us, which we did to break even on the lease. And I'll never forget, my brother was like, this is crazy. I can't believe we're gonna do this. If this doesn't work, we lose, we got nothing. I made decisions very early on knowing where I wanted to be, and sacrifices, because, my dad was a truck driver, my mom took care of us kids. We didn't come from money, everything was out on, we took out loans, and everything was just invest in yourself. And I was always taught, look, what's the worst thing that could happen? You fail, right? You start over, what's so bad about that? Why not try? At that point, we decided, I had a few big cases that I thought were very substantial, and I made the decision, hey, I want to learn from the best. to learn how they do it. I didn't have the money to spend $50,000 to $100,000 on a trial. It just doesn't exist. And if you lose, I mean, you're done. First one I did was with Brian Panish. And just to see the way that, that his machine works, I mean, he associated in the day of trial. But he was ready. Everything was ready. And just to see how the PowerPoints work, to see how they prepared witnesses, and just the grit and determination that you have to do it. I mean, it was very inspiring, and it was the best education that you'll ever get. And my best advice to any lawyer out there is to do that. I can't talk about it enough. Never try a case alone. At our firm now, we do everything in teams because it is super stressful. You don't want to miss anything. If it means combining up with other firms, you should absolutely do it. It's in the best interest of the client. And that's my best advice for young lawyers. Do not be afraid of bringing in somebody in and to admit that you don't know what you're doing, to be able to really be a profitable law firm. And people don't understand this. They think they see these results, therefore you're making this money. It doesn't work that way, because you're paying overhead, you're paying lawyers, you're paying salaries, there were 2 years, 2012 and 13, where our associates made more than my brother and I did. I mean, there were cases up on appeal that we were waiting on and taking out mortgages on our house, waiting for that to happen so we can get paid on these cases. And if you're going to be a trial lawyer, you have to realize you're going to have those financial ups and downs. And once you get through, 2014 was our bubble year. And we were waiting, and all these cases were on appeal, where we had these big results. And it was finally when those started to get paid, so we can pay back all of the debt that we accumulated waiting for it, hire more people, and then really expand. And it does take time, and it just does not happen overnight. And you have to work, and it has to be grit, and it has to be determination, but that's what it is to be a trial lawyer, in and out of the courtroom. We were very candid about where we were financially with the people within our firm. We would sit down and I would have conversations, and I'll never forget, I sat down with Tom Fair, who was a great friend of mine. He was the first lawyer that I ever hired. And I was like, look man, like, if we don't win this appeal, I can't afford you 3 months from now. And we had a very real discussion about it. And he stuck by us, thank God. We won the appeal, and the rest is history. But there were times where I would tell my wife will tell you funnier stories where it's like, we can't go out or do anything this month because we have no money. So, it was just one of these things where we were starving lawyers. Like, really had to watch a negative bank account every week. But you had to you can't go any case on the cheap. We didn't want our clients to suffer because we were waiting for these cases to pay out. We had to take out loans, had to take out mortgages to fund these other cases while we waited, because you have to always do what's best for the client. And we always did. We always stood by that, and I think that's why we've been so successful, is as long as you realize you do what's best for the client, it always works out in the end. I read a book that Brian Panish gave me to read called You Can't Teach Hungry. It's written by John Morgan, who's a trial lawyer out of Florida, has several offices, several lawyers, probably over hundreds right now. And one of the things he writes in the book is you can't teach hungry. There's a personality trait that you can't just develop. You either have it or you don't. So in recruiting lawyers, we find out who has that tenacity, that hunger, and then you find a role for that person's talents. And it's trusting them at a very young age, an early age, to try cases together, to collaborate, teach how we do things. The one thing that I think we do better than most other firms is the preparation part of it. We have teams of lawyers that prepare absolutely everything to get ready for the trial lawyers to try the case. It's a little unique where if a case goes from start to finish at our firm, you'll probably have 6 lawyers working for you. The first 3 are doing the workup. The next 1 or 2 are doing just the trial workup, and then you'll have the 1 or 2 trial lawyers. But it took time to develop people into their best role. I think you have to trust people's personalities, that they will work out and fit a role. And we've been very blessed that it's been working for us.